Hello, everybody. Happy June 23rd, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have another NFA coach, this time the quarterback and offensive coordinator. His name, Coach Burris. Coach, it's a pleasure to be able to have you on.
Appreciate you having me, man. It's great what you're doing. We really appreciate it as coaches from across the state.
I really appreciate that. And I really love what you guys are doing as far as I saw the new Twitter handle for the conference itself, trying to promote the players. Just before we get into yourself, just kind of talk about that Twitter handle and what the reason for making it was.
Yeah, I follow some guys on Twitter that have done a phenomenal job during the pandemic of kind of linking coaches together and creating some spaces to kind of give guys a platform to get their guys out there, especially with things the pandemic has put in front of us from a recruiting standpoint. College coaches have to be very creative in how they go about scouting and recruiting part of things. So me and Coach Bakula, our head coach at NFA, we were discussing one night after he got a chance to be on kind of a regional deal with the athletes around the area, and he said, this might be something that we could do for our guys at NFA as well as the ECC in general, because that's where our net is. So we know those coaches. We reached out and we got the Twitter thing going because that's where the kids are, that's where the coaches are, that's where you can communicate them readily, and they'll get back to you in a lot of instances. And it really took off. We had 2 nights where we showcased our rising seniors, and the ones behind it are currently our rising juniors. And I think it was a lot of positive feedback from the coaches. Our coaches from around the area in the ECC, they got into it. They jumped in, and I think everybody was really excited and really pleased. And we're going to try to have some more things going to help get our guys some attention and the recognition that they deserve as kids and athletes.
That's awesome. I mean, anytime that you could try to help promote the young men that are trying their best to, get looked at, especially during this pandemic and with, 7-on-7s and practices and camps and all that would happen at the colleges now not happening, any which way to get the film out, the tape. I mean, the one good thing you could say about this pandemic is you got NFL, not NFL, but you have, college coaches, you have recruiters. They're on Twitter trying to find guys, and being able to do
Absolutely.
this, Coach, can help any which way.
Oh, for sure. And like I said, the response from the college coaches was great. And I know, they're following us, and guys are sending direct messages, and we've encouraged the kids within our conference to kind of, if you put any film out there, if you got some stuff jumping out of a pool, whatever can set you apart, tag us, and we'll do everything we can to get that recruiting ball rolling for you. Because I mean, the worst that a coach can say to you is no, but you never know until you shoot your shot. So we're going to help those guys get out and get as much exposure as possible. And that's kind of our role as coaches, to help them get to the next level, whatever that level may be.
What was some of the feedback that you received from some of the college coaches, if you can share that?
Yeah, just that it was some of the most organized and thought, detailed, oriented kind of things we went through. The way it was set up, a coach, let's say NFA, we had 10 minutes and we might have 3 athletes. And it's really, it's rapid fire. Here's what the student is, here's a GPA, here's a film, and we're just, we're shooting bullets at them. And we're giving the coach basically a preview, a glimpse into who this kid is. And as, a lot of those guys know when they see film and when they hear some things, they know what they're looking for. But we just wanted to have that opportunity. So, we've heard from them in response was, we really appreciate you organizing, number one, because it's not the same as happening across our state or across the country in a lot of cases. So to have kind of a one-stop shop was what we heard a lot, because you had coaches from Maine all the way down to, I think we invited Sacred Heart. Some UConn coaches we had invited, and a lot of D3 coaches showed up. So they were very appreciative because they could sit on their couch, which, we all are kind of in a way, and they could get a lot of work done within, I think we were about an hour and a half, 2 hours some nights. But just to start the conversation, they call us up here the quiet corner, I've heard. So try to shake it a little bit and say, hey, we got some talent up here too.
Hey man, I've been grateful and lucky to be able to talk to some guys, coaches and players from the ECC conference. And, I try any which way to help and get, anybody as much help as possible to try to get the talent out there because, like I've said, there's talent in Connecticut from the coaches down to the players, and any which way that I can help to show people, hey, look, there's talent here. Just give it a second. I'll do anything I
Sure.
can to help.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Coach, now let's get to the nitty gritty yourself. Tell me a little bit about
Okay.
what led you to NFA. Give me the journey.
All right. Well, I'm originally from South Carolina, a small town called Rock Hill, South Carolina. It is in the shadows of Charlotte, North Carolina. We're probably about 20 minutes from the city of Charlotte. And back home, we call it Football City, USA. And so I was kind of steeped in football. Growing up, there was an article by ESPN a few years ago that said we produce the most NFL talent per capita of any city in the country. So if you go back home and you mention Rock Hill, you're going to get Football City, USA. And so, that led me into coaching naturally. I didn't play collegiately. I went to Coastal Carolina, but I didn't play there. And I jumped immediately into coaching after I graduated from college. I'm a PE teacher, health teacher by trade. And throughout my career, I've been in places where I've had a lot of mentors that just shaped me and helped mold me into who I am as a coach, who I am as a man. And the game of football is what I owe a tremendous amount of that to. I was at Conway High School where I met my now fiance, and she is from Stonington, Pawcatuck, Connecticut. She would tell you. So push came to shove, and we tried to distance thing for a while after I got another job up close to home.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see, 2017, I moved up here. I didn't coach my first year here. I was just kind of feeling out the area, seeing where I was, and what was what as far as teaching, coaching, et cetera, et cetera. I reached out to a few coaches around, and I sent an email to Coach Bakulis. I told him who I was, my experience. We're looking at, I was probably 10 or 11 years in by the time I moved up here. And he got back to me, I'm probably within 10, 15 minutes. And we set up an interview in probably less than a week. I was on the NFA, and, within halfway between my first year there, my first season, I was named offensive coordinator, and here we are now. So
That's
it's been a
awesome.
journey.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone's journey is always going to be different. It's not always
No
linear.
doubt.
There's always going to be different ways, different avenues. But you're from South Carolina, you're from South Carolina. Are you a Gamecocks fan by any chance?
I'm a Tar Heel. I am not a South Carolina fan. I am not a
Oh.
Clemson fan. I grew up, like I said, Rock Hill is right on the state line. And just growing up, I can remember getting into fights about, Duke, Carolina. And
Mm-hmm.
so basketball, coincidentally, is also one of my passions. I just loved it. You got Michael Jordan, who obviously went to North Carolina, and then Dean Smith comes through there. And anytime those two schools are having great years,
Mm-hmm.
the rivalry is as intense a rivalry you can get in sports. So I crossed the border and went with the Tar Heels, and I'm diehard. All my friends will tell you I get down with my Tar Heels.
So this basketball season must have been a little rough for you, just a little.
Hey, you know what? Our tournament streak is still alive. There was no tournament, so the Tar Heels didn't miss one.
Hey, that's a good way to go about it. That's not a bad. I like
Yeah,
that. You're looking at the glass half full rather than the glass
that's
half
right.
empty. And also,
That's
too,
right.
for football, you guys almost beat Clemson. You had your
Yeah.
shot. It just, I don't want to. I never want to question the legendary coach at North Carolina, but that
Mm-hmm.
play call, what was he thinking?
Hey,
I
you
mean,
trust your
you
guys.
tell me. You can tell me.
It's obvious. Hindsight is always 20/20, and in a position to call plays, we all have those moments where
Mm-hmm.
about halfway through that play, it's like, oh, maybe that wasn't a good idea. But pressure does things to people, and as a coach, we try to prepare our kids to be ready for those situations. And as a coach, you try to put yourself in those situations, but nobody really knows until you're in it, and you got to get it going, and you hope that the kids are able to execute. And it doesn't always work out. I promise you, none of us are out here making mistakes on purpose.
Put me in, or pretend like you're in that situation. What are you calling right there, Coach? What's the call?
So actually, we weren't in that exact situation, but we had a game this season against Killingly, actually, and we had to get a 2-point conversion to tie it. And this was probably about a minute and 50 seconds to go in the game. And I've always thought my process is plays or players over plays. So, we had a kid who led the state in receiving, and I'm making sure that he's going to be involved in the play regardless. So for me, it's going to depend on who your best players are, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get the ball in their hands. And at the end of the day, I can live and die with that. If I go out and I don't do the job, I'm doing a disservice to the kids in the game. If I go out and I try to overthink things, so I'm not going to be tricky. I'm not going to try to do all the smoke and mirror stuff. We're going to come at you with our best stuff, and may the best man win.
Just throw it on the table and say, here you go.
Here
This
we
is
are.
what I got.
Let's do it.
Just go to battle. I love that.
Let's
I
go to work.
love to hear that, Coach. You mentioned about how when, during your time playing, did you ever feel like that you had a chance to be a coach? Like, was there ever that drive? Did you know in the back of your mind, like, okay, this coaching thing I could maybe get, dabble myself into?
A little. It was definitely a journey and a process. I can remember thinking, I went to a fairly large high school. We had about 2,500 kids at the time. And so my senior year, we had 32 players in my class. And I remember that we felt as kids that we had enough talent to have a lot more guys go on to play at the next level. So they kind of sparked my interest, just trying to make a difference. Because regardless of the situation, talent, there's a place for everybody who wants to play college football. That's my opinion. And I felt like we had a lot of kids that could have. And throughout my coaching journey, I've tried to always allow football to be a tool. And, for me, someone that didn't play college football, I always tell my kids I went to college because of football. Because football is a motivating factor for me to go to school, get good grades, and have those opportunities that I was able to capitalize on post-graduation. So whereas the scholarship and walking on or whatever the case may not be for everyone, this game can do a tremendous job of just opening doors for people. So that's kind of what led me here. Just trying to be a positive influence on young men I'm able to impact.
And to piggyback off the opening the doors, I had an opportunity to talk with, Coach B when I first started doing this show. And he told me about how now Jaden, who it was the starting quarterback late in the season, he played
Yeah.
because not one, not two, there were some injuries, but he was
Yeah,
prepared.
man.
He was ready. And he mentioned, I think the first game, he said the first throw he made, it was a completed pass. It was a good pass. And he said from that point on, he was like, oh, okay, all right, let's go. So that must have been, as a guy who's calling the plays and works with this young man, you had to be pleased with what you saw.
Yeah, for sure. We as coaches, we always, I think, no matter what program you go to, no matter what coach you talk to, you're going to hear, be prepared when your number's called. And it's cliche, but there's a lot of truth and merit to it. And our players specifically last year did a tremendous job of being ready when their number was called. Unfortunately, we lost two quarterbacks, both who were seniors, and they did a tremendous job of establishing themselves as leaders and working throughout the summer. But because of their ability to lead us, it allowed Jaden to kind of work at his own pace, but be comfortable in who he was and what he was able to do as a player. He understood when he got the job, he didn't have to be Austin. He didn't have to be Hosco. He could go in and be Jaden, and we could tailor some things around his skill set and just go to work. And, we go into practice every day, and all our guys get reps. It's not really so much focused on the starters per se. We're running through everything, and we're a tempo team, so everything's up tempo, and we're going fast, fast, fast. So you don't really have a lot of time to waste at practice. So I think the way that our kids practice, the way they approach practice, helped Jaden tremendously because we didn't have time to cry and complain. We had to go to work, and that's exactly what he did from the first moment he was able to throw a pass. And our seniors rallied around him. They really did, and they did a great job of allowing him to be himself and allowing us as coaches to have that confidence in him. And we just kept rolling throughout the season.
Is there a particular trait or maybe attribute about Jaden that sets him apart from maybe other quarterbacks that you've seen in the past? Because I know, considering like when you think of, NFL guys, for example, Carson Wentz with his elusive ability. You have Dak Prescott, who seems to just always be on the field and always kind of has that positive attribute, positive attitude. Is there anything that Jaden has that you think sets him apart from others?
Yeah, Jaden has a tremendous amount of composure. For a kid that's so young in his quarterback journey, he didn't start playing quarterback until his freshman year of high school. I mean, and he didn't play all of that season. So to come in on a partial year as a freshman starter, to be the JV starter the beginning of the year, and then to be forced into a starting position with some of the teams that we played, his ability to just kind of have that poker face. You can never tell if he's playing well. You can never tell if he's having a bad game. And he's able to compartmentalize a lot of things and just move on to the next play, whether it's good or bad. He has very little emotion, but when he does have those emotional moments, it's usually after a big play, and he kind of just he fist pumps and does his thing, and he comes off the field, and he and Coach Washburn, who coached our quarterbacks last year, they had a little celebration, and he's right back on the sideline. And most of the time, he's celebrating with his JV teammates because he was their quarterback when the year started. So if you go back and look through some of our film, you'll see 10 guys run into the end zone to celebrate the touchdown. Jaden's running off to the sideline and go celebrate with some of his classmates. Now, I always thought that was funny. But he never forgot, the guys, because you can kind of see when guys' stars start to get bigger and their names in the papers and, they get some headlines, they kind of forget some of the ones that they started out with. But Jaden hasn't been that. And I think that helped him and our program a tremendous amount.
So, I've always attributed that to kind of like the ladder effect, where every time you take a step, there's that foot that you need because it's either your left or your right foot to take that next step. And my teacher, when I was in college, actually, he was Professor Veth. Could never forget about him. Loved him. He always said, think of life as a ladder effect. Every step that you take, that's at least 5 to 10 people who are helping your life and progressing and helping you get better. And when you go down the ladder, don't forget to take that step because otherwise you're going to fall. Just like with people, don't forget about the people that help bring you to the top. Otherwise, you will fall. And I don't know why, but when he told me that, even now, I graduated in 2015 from college, that still rings true in my head each and every day.
Sure. That's it. And it's all about those moments. And those are teachable moments. And we had a lot of them last season due to the quarterback situation. We always tell our kids that we are what we are. We throw the ball a good bit, and we're not shy about it. We're up tempo, we're no huddle, and we were going to be who we said we were at the beginning of the year. And so we laid the goals out and we set the expectation for our kids. And that's where you start to see when you have a good culture, which Coach McCool has established, and we're continuing to build on it. You start to see the fruits of your labor. So last year, even though it was disappointing in some ways due to the quarterback situation, it was a great kind of signal to what we're building, and I think our kids really needed that, and I think they've taken it and they're ready to go run with it.
It also hopes that Coach Bakulis is also yoked up too, because that's the first thing I said to him when I saw him. I was like, Coach, dude, I gotta go start doing some push-ups. I don't know if I can talk to you now.
Gotta stay in your weight class, man. I always remember that.
And
I'm a little guy, so I know those roles.
Oh, yeah, right? Geez. You mentioned about throwing to wide receivers. Let's talk about one that I know you want to talk about, and we also have a linebacker too. First, we'll hit on the wide receiver. Maxpierre Lewis. You wanted to mention him. You said he was a 3-year starter. Talk about him.
Yeah, so Max actually started his first game and got playing time in his first game as a 13-year-old freshman. He doesn't –
Wait, say that one more time.
He was a 13-year-old the first time he was stuck in a varsity football game. Now, he doesn't look 13. He's 6'4" now, so he's got some tools, and we're very excited about it. He's a very unselfish kid. We had 3 other seniors that started ahead of him not ahead of him, but started with him last year. Whatever we asked him to do, he was ready to do it and willing to do it in the name of winning the football game. He's a powerhouse, man. He is a 6'2", 280-pound kid. He's the strongest player in our program. He might be, man for man, the best athlete in the program. He can dunk a basketball. He'll tell you he can dunk a basketball. I've seen him grab the rim. I haven't seen him dunk yet, but I won't doubt him to his face, put it that way. But Joe is he's a quiet kid, but he loves football. And if you could draw up a football player, if you're going to get a lineman or, you want that kid to just have a chip on his shoulder, and he just wants to physically impose his will on people. And he doesn't care where he is. If he's playing defensive tackle, if he's playing on the end, if he's playing offensive guard. Last year we had a formation where we actually put him kind of a H-back position. He was a lead block on some stuff that we did in short yardage situations. He doesn't care. He'd tell you he could carry the ball. He could probably throw a football 50 yards. So maybe this year we'll get some trick plays in there. We can, flip it back to him and let him toss it down the field a little bit. But Joe's a great kid. He's got a tremendous future ahead of him. We just got to get him in and get him working and let things happen the way they're going to happen for him.
You got to give the big guy at least an opportunity to, run it in for a touchdown or something, Coach.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
You got to remember back in the day with the Bears. Remember when they had the big guy?
The fridge.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, it's in the works. We'll see. Now, if we get it on there, I'm going to send the clip to you, and you got to put it all over the internet, wherever you got it.
You have my information. Just send it to me. You know I'll do the rest. You got me.
That's the deal.
All right?
That's the deal. Now, he's going to hold it to me. If he sees this and he hears me talking about this, he's going to be begging for that play every day in practice.
He's going to be like, Coach, come on. It's 4th and 1. Give me the rock. Come on.
For sure. He'll love it.
I can really tell that, just like I said the same thing to Coach Bukulis as well. The love that you have for your football team and the passion that you have for the game, I think it's something that shouldn't go unnoticed because with the pandemic, with, there's other things going on, which we'll get to towards the end of this show. I think that's the one thing I think that cannot be lost with all this is we have each other. We're all this, I think, I'm trying to say we're all together. And I think being able to try to help each other in a positive way and try to help, I think that's the biggest component. And you guys, to your credit and to the rest of the coaching staff, do that for these young men. And I admire that.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's a job of us as coaches. That's the role we accept. It comes with territory. But, one of the things when you mentioned our ECC recruits account,
mm-hmm.
Obviously we want to help our kids at NFA. But if the more kids we can help, that's what this game's for, and that's what it's about. And I think as coaches, we're doing a better job of communicating and trying to work for the same goals. But, at the same time, for those 10 nights or 13 nights, if you're a champion at the end of it, we can go to battle for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But at the end of it, it's all about the kids. And whatever we got to do to help kids get wherever they want to be, I'm all for it. I don't care what your uniform color is, your helmet color, whatever. So I'm in that boat heavily, and I'm always willing to help anybody out.
Now, looking at you specifically, Coach, down the road, like obviously not now because you have a lot of good things going on. You have a younger one. You have another one on the way as well that will be there in just a couple weeks. And again, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Hopefully safe, nothing's wrong, everything will go okay, and I'm sure it will. But do you have aspirations of potentially coaching at the college level?
It's not something that I'm pursuing.
Okay.
I believe, there's a saying out there that says bloom where you're planted. And when you do your job the best way that you can possibly do it, opportunities come to you. And so, I feel like my calling right now is to be on the high school level. And right now is to be the best offensive coordinator at NFA that I can be. And if I continue to do my job the way I'm supposed to do it and expected to do it, then whatever comes my way is meant to come my way. But I don't have the time to focus on what could be down the road when my job right now, like I said, is to put our players in position to succeed. And so, one day, maybe that could be in the cards. And if not, I'm perfectly okay being on the high school level because I absolutely love the interaction I get with the kids. And I believe once you cross into that college world, it kind of changes a little bit. It's been depending on who you talk to, but it's more of a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, we're starting to see some of that because the decisions are being made based on money. And, for better or for worse, that's kind of where we are. But on the high school level, you're dealing with kids that have grown up together. They live in the same communities. They go grocery shopping. They go to church. They babysit each other's brothers and sisters growing up. So I love that aspect of the game, and I love what football can do in a community as far as galvanizing people and bringing everyone together.
Coach Burris, it's been great having you on the show and to have another NFA coach on. And, I really do like, what's going on with the program and what you're doing with the young men as well. Last thing that I want to be able to discuss with you, and it's not even so much discuss because mainly you're going to be doing the talking, but it's about what's going on in the world right now with various situations. And I think for you, and you mentioned this prior to us coming on, about how using your platform in a positive way and trying to help others. I know we talked about helping others with the ECC
Mhm.
account, with football.
Right.
This is a little bit different. This is not football. This is life. Coach, you have the floor.
Really and truly, as coaches, we're role models to a lot of guys, and a lot of people we don't even know because they know us as coach. But being a leader, too much is given, much is expected, and this is a time to really just listen to your players and listen to their experiences, whether they be black or white. Um, the focus is obviously on the Black Lives Matter movement, and there might be some people that have questions. What does that mean? I'm white. What does that mean for me? Or I'm Asian. What does that mean for me? But I think as coaches, we have to have those conversations in a place where kids are safe, and establish those relationships. And I hear a lot of guys say that, I love my players, and that's okay and that's good. But your players really need to feel that love at a time like this, because for the first time in their life, I think they're seeing how deep some of this really goes. So I know we're doing some things within our program to kind of have these conversations and create some dialogue. And I just want to encourage all the coaches out there in the state and in the country, wherever you are, to just take time out and just listen with an open heart and an open mind. And hopefully we can get this thing going in the right direction where we have some changes made, and we don't have to live in such fear as a people.
Coach, it's powerful words by you, but coming from the heart, I can tell, there's something there. It's beyond, there's a little bit of pain, there's a little bit of sadness, but at the same time, you're speaking from experience and on just from what you've seen. And we can all hope that there will be change at some point,
Absolutely.
hopefully sooner rather than later. We all may be, like you said, white, black, Asian, you name every, I mean, I could go on and on, but we all bleed the same color. And I think
That's it.
that's something that gets lost. And hopefully, like I said, times we can all hope will only get better soon.
Absolutely. And man, I appreciate you having me on and giving me the opportunity to speak a little bit about our programs and things going on this side of the state. You're doing a phenomenal job, so keep it up. And if you ever need anything from our side, you got my stuff. So reach out.
I appreciate that, Coach. Hey, you're one of the rising stars, man. When I see the college coaches saying like, "Hey, who do you know about players and such?" Every now and again, I'll be like, "Hey, here's some coaches, here's some young guys," and you know, you're one of the guys I keep trying to put out there, man, because I know you don't think about college in the future, but I don't know. I just feel like there's an opportunity for you at the college level at some point. I'm telling you, I have
We'll
that
see.
feeling. I have that feeling.
Good players make us all look like smart guys. It helps to have those guys on your side when the bullets start flying. So I appreciate it, and we'll keep rolling.
Now, wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So, as always, stay safe. And for everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.